What comes in our mind when we say Jose Rizal, a brave novelist who awakens the hearts of many Filipinos, a great lover, a writer of exquisite poems and revolutionary novels, the hero who was shot in Manila. But what kind of man Rizal is? What kind of country did he came from? What are his ideas, his principles of thought? I'm John Walich Magadan, and just sit back and relax as we journey in the life and works of Rizal. There was not much that Rizal could do in Europe, so he decided to take up his medical practice in Hong Kong. And after the El Filibusterismo was published, Rizal left Europe and aboard the SS Melbourne. In the lively atmosphere of the ship, Rizal was able to put his darker thoughts aside, and his diary abounds with observant and amusing descriptions of the passengers and their behavior. Jose Rizal arrived in Hong Kong on November 19, 1891. There, Rizal stayed in one of the houses which Jose Basa owned, and began practicing general medicine and ophthalmic surgery. And what Basa had told him proved true. Patients of many different nationalities and races started coming to him, and he quickly acquired a local reputation, being known in Hong Kong as a Spanish doctor. Within a few days of his arrival, a disastrous event occurred. When the Spaniard authorities in Manila learned that Rizal was returning to Asia, the Spaniards decided to remove the deportees, including Pasiano Rizal and Silvestre Obaldo. Fortunately, while being transported, they were able to escape and went immediately to Hong Kong, together with Rizal's father, Don Kikoy. The Spaniards then put their heir next to the old-aged Doña Lolay. She was unjustly arrested for declaring her name improperly, styling herself Alonso, when according to the authorities, she should have styled herself Realonda de Rizal. From Manila, she had been made to walk for 4 days to Santa Cruz, Laguna. Think of a 64-years-old lady walking on the streets under the full glare of the tropical sun. When the Governor-General seized Doña Lolay, he ordered her immediate release and permitted to leave to Hong Kong. Shortly before Christmas, Chudora Alonso was able to reunite with her family. Spending Christmas in Hong Kong with his family was the happiest time of Rizal's life. He wrote his friend Ferdinand Blumentritt a letter describing his feelings. Here we are all living together, my parents, sisters, and brother, in peace and far from persecutions they suffered in the Philippines. They are very much pleased with the English government. Despite the bright prospects of setting up a lucrative medical practice in Hong Kong and being with his family, Rizal could not get the plight of the farmers of Calamba out of his mind. On December 3, 1891, Rizal published an article in Hong Kong Telegraph describing the unjust eviction and the destruction of the homes of the farmers of Calamba and their persecution. Concurrently, Rizal drew up plans to start in the Philippines,
a nationwide society called the Liga Filipina, where its members pledged to mutual protection in any diversity, to provide defense against violence and injustice, to stimulate education, agriculture, and commerce, to study and apply reforms, and to observe secrecy regarding any order issued by its councils.
On Rizal's voyage to Hong Kong from Europe, Rizal met William Pryor, the manager of the British North Borneo Company, the company that had obtained a long-term lease from the Sultan of Sulu in 1878 to manage the entire island of North Borneo.
After learning of what Pryor planned to grow the British colony, Rizal proposed to set up a Filipino colony on North Borneo with the evicted Calamba tenants.
Pryor and his wife, Ada, welcomes Rizal's proposal, in which Rizal later memorialized an agreement he prepared that was composed of 14 specific points emailed into the Pryors from Hong Kong. On her husband's behalf, Ada Pryor wrote back,
"It will be a great advantage for British North Borneo if you are able to bring us a large Philippines contingent, and we shall hail your advent with such great pleasure."
Rizal then made plans to visit Ada and William in Sandakan, North Borneo. 2 months later, Rizal traveled to the place he hoped to call Nueva Calamba, a rich, fertile land up to the Mingoca River in Marado Bay.
Together with Pryor, he met with the governor of North Borneo and discussed his proposal to lease at least 5,000 acres of land with an option to purchase thousands more for a lease of 950 years.
But there was just one problem. The Calamba farmers could not leave the Philippines without the permission of the Spanish Governor-General Eugenio Despojol. On December 23, 1891, Rizal wrote a personal letter to Despojol in which he said,
If this offer is rejected, Your Excellency will know what to do, but in the future, my conscience will be clear. I have done all I owed.
It was a very pretentious letter and it was horrible. The letter naturally received no reply, but in the political circumstances, it was a letter that embodied the truth. The tone of the letter, however, rendered it impossible of acceptance. Rizal was thrusting Spain too far.
Finally, during these months, he at last came to face with the practical details of revolution. He had been considering revolution in some detail for more than a year. He had discussed it with Gallicano Apaseble, Jose Alejandrino, Pasiano Rizal, and Jose Basa. His attitude of revolution still contained the same element of ambivalence. It was the worst solution, but it was almost certainly the only solution.
The most authoritative statement on Rizal's general attitude is that of Jose Alejandro.
I will never head a revolution that is preposterous and has no probability of success, because I do not like to saddle my conscience with reckless and fruitless bloodshed. But whoever may head a revolution in the Philippines will have me at his side.
Blooming treat was sensed from Rizal's letter that things might be maturing in that direction in Hong Kong. Wrote him a letter of warning not to go in a revolutionary agitation against a superior dominating power.
A revolution has no likelihood of success unless a great portion of the army and navy should rebel. The motherland should be at war with another nation. There should be money and munitions available. None of these conditions exist in the Philippines.
On March 21, 1892, Rizal addressed a second letter to General Despujol.
I request Your Excellency to grant us the necessary permission to change our nationality, to sell our little property that has been left to us by the many disturbances that we have had, and to guarantee the immigration of all those for some reason or other have incurred the unfavorable criticism of more or less powerful persons who will remain in the Philippines even after Your Excellency's administration.
Despujol was incensed by Rizal's letter and feared that Rizal would use his Philippine colony in North Borneo to launch a revolution against Spain.
But Despujol did not respond to Rizal's letter. Instead, he asked the Spanish consul in Hong Kong to invite Rizal to return to Manila to discuss the matters personally with him. Rizal's family and friends implored Rizal to reject Despujol's invitation. His family were absolutely opposed to his decision. While speaking for the rest of the family across the water, his brother-in-law Antonio Lopez wrote,
Besides, almost are opposed to your coming, and I am of the same opinion. I think that from there you can do all that you wish, without coming here for the good of the Philippines.
But Rizal was very determined to provide a better life for all Filipinos. And if personally meeting Despujol in Manila was needed to make it happen, then Rizal would do it.
The step that I have taken, or I am about to take, is without very hazardous, and I need not say that I have pondered over it a great deal. I realize that almost everyone is opposed to it, but I realize also that almost no one knows what is going on in my heart. I cannot live knowing that many are suffering unjust persecutions on my account. I cannot live seeing my brother, my sisters, and their numerous families persecuted like criminals.
On June 21, Rizal wrote to Despujol saying that he was coming to Manila to place himself first at the Governor-General's disposal and afterwards to arrange some personal affairs.
Rizal arrived in Manila on June 26, 1892, and proceeded to Malacañang Palace to meet Despujol. Despujol sets up meeting with Rizal to talk about several matters. On the same day as this last meeting of Rizal and Despujol, Sunday, July 3, Rizal attended a large evening gathering in a secluded house in the Manila ward of Tondo. At this meeting, he formally launched the Liga Filipina.
The country had now to unite to achieve its own redemption, and Liga Filipina is our best instrument by which this could be brought about.
The following day, Rizal was arrested and incarcerated in Fort Santiago after an anti-friar leaflets planted by the friars were found in his luggage. Despujol ordered Rizal incarcerated in Fort Santiago for the crime of attempting to decatholicize these ever-Spanish Philippine islands. He was later deported to Dapitan in Zamboanga.
It was the end of Rizal's political career and the end of La Liga Filipina. In its stead arose an organization, a more violently aimed. Among these who had attended, at which the La Liga had been launched, was 29 years old Andres Bonifacio.
When Rizal was imprisoned and deported, it was immediately plain to Bonifacio that the Liga was doomed. On the night when the announcement of the forthcoming deportation appeared in the government gazette, Andres Bonifacio and a small group, 7 in all, formed the Katipunan, a secret society dedicated to the aim of severance from Spain by means of armed revolution, and one of whose emblems is embodied today in the national flag of the Philippines.
The revolution which Rizal had inspired, in which he had postulated, in which he was to die for was underway.